Well,
you're on mute, dumbass.
On mute, dumbass.
Great way to start the show. Keep up the good work, Travis. Yeah, what is up, everyone? It's Mangone here, breaking down the NBA slate, NBA Hardwood show. I'm here with JBC. I'm here with Bryce, and I think that's the first time I've ever started a show on mute. I don't think I've ever made that mistake to start the show. So, again, off to a great start. That was pretty funny, but you got to go to JBC, right? I think I was on mute because I was so distracted by that intro, right? I mean, the 11-0 day, absolutely incredible. Definitely a fun time. I'll say this, JBC, when I was younger, before I even got into DFS and sports betting, I used to do like a pick 'em pool with my buddies, right? It was like just pick 5, right, every single week, and it'd be hard to get 5 in 1 week, right? It just wasn't an easy thing for sure. This was back when I knew nothing. I was like high school, college, just trying to learn and figure it out, and 5-0 would be impressive. 11-0 is what you did on Sunday. So why don't you tell people a little bit about more what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, picked every game on Sunday, put out all the bets for the members, won them all. A lot of people were hitting some crazy big parlays, 100 to 1, 120 to 1. A lot of people made a lot of money. I'm happy for everybody.
Yeah, no, it was definitely awesome. There's tons of great stuff going on in Discord. If you have not signed up for Rumshare Sports, Rumshare Bet stuff, use that code Giblets44. Use that through the holiday. Get you 44% off. We got Richard in the chat says, thanks for your picks. He's on the way to pick up $7K from the bookie. That bookie's not going to be happy saying hello to you.
He might tell you to fuck off afterward.
He definitely might. So that's gonna be a fun pickup for you. Thanks a lot for coming by. Hit that like button for us. We appreciate it as well. We have tons of other stuff, going on over here at Rumshare Sports. I mean, Kurt's betting E-League, the Euro League. You guys are betting soccer. I mean, it's a quiet day, but it's not that quiet. Steve Boynton is grinding out the college basketball playbook. So we got tons of stuff going on over here at Rumshare Sports. So again, go check it all out. Bryce, I'll go over to you. You had Chipotle just show up, so you should be ready to go for the show. Hopefully you can stop being so hangry, and you got your Coke, hopefully, from the guy. And wondering too, how was the playing game yesterday, right? Like, you got to go to the playing game, see the Boston Celtics and Pacers game, which was a sick game for sure. So talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, I bet the Celtics. And everyone I brought my buddy and his girlfriend, who my fiance is friends with as well. And they're all like big Pacers fans. So I feel kind of bad rooting against them. But yeah, I mean, it was an absolutely electric game. The fans were like super into it. Like, they were standing like almost the entire fourth quarter. The court looks so much better in person than it does like on TV, like, because these courts like kind of look like shit on TV, but in the arena it's really cool. I don't go to many games just because of like our schedule here, but 2-game NBA slate, like you guys saw me grinding on Twitter at the bar we went to before the game, so made it work. Going to the Butler basketball game tonight, sitting courtside there, so that game's definitely not on TV. They're like 25-point favorites, but we'll give away one of Mark's bets here. He has the over in that game, so it's always fun to go to a game and bet the over.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely more fun to go and bet the over. I will say I bet a college basketball game when I went to Seton Hall, graduated there, and the only Seton Hall game I ever went to, I bet Providence, and Providence won. So it was rooting against the own school. That's because we had some inside info too on campus. We had some inside info that like the one kid probably wouldn't play and it wasn't out yet. So I was like, I'm betting Providence. This is a no-brainer. So was a lot of fun. But I do want to mention JBC again. He gave out the Butler bet that wasn't part of the premium plays. So if you're looking for any premium plays, right, JBC gives out a ton of bets. If you just want to bet a bunch of things, or you want to see, hey, what do you think there's an edge on? JBC has those bets up that you can go look at and pick and choose which ones you want to go to. Maybe you're going to, a college basketball game like Bryce tonight. You see JBC has a lead on something, then you can kind of take that side. Also, if you want, you got the premium plays, but there's only 5 bets, right? Where if you're someone that's like, this is too overwhelming for me, right? There's too many bets. I don't know how to pick and choose between them. Some people, they don't like a buffet, right? It's too overwhelming for them. Well, instead, you can use the premium plays where there's some really great options as well. So he's got 5 up already for the day. You put them up not too long ago, and they're all college basketball, right? Nothing else different there, JBC?
Yeah, I mean, I bet a lot of hockey games today, but none of them were in the premiums.
Yeah, none of them in the premium, but yeah, there's hockey bets up. Christine will have some props up, I'm sure, for the NBA. I already got some props up in the NBA as well. I had 8 yesterday, went 7-1. Drew Holiday screwed over the parlay. That was not so kind, but what can you do? Hopefully we can have a good day. I got 4 up today. And I'm from Central North Jersey. I was in the Somerset County area. So there you go, petty plays. But New Jersey's small, so you know everywhere there. But let's talk more about the playing games, JVC, because Bryce was there last night. For one, both the dogs won last night, which that's normally pretty surprising. The big surprising one was the Pacers one, and I mean, good for the Pacers. They really grinded that out. They were trying hard. It was a fun atmosphere to watch. Again, Bryce was at the game, so I'm sure he had the Celtics, but still was probably a cool atmosphere to be a part of. And then also worth mentioning the Pelicans team. Like, man, this team has some length. They're deep. I thought that game would be pretty good. I thought just because De'Aaron Fox is so good, obviously, Herb Jones can have his way. And it got interesting at the end, but at the end, the Pelicans got the job done.
I think a big boost for the Pelicans yesterday was that Trey Murphy was able to play 30 minutes. I mean, he played more than Zion and Valanciunas did. Yeah. I think at the beginning of the season this year, they were kind of, everybody knows they're great at defense, but they were kind of missing that spot up shooter, that role that Trey Murphy provides. And with him and McCollum both back in there for significant minutes, they looked a lot more like they have the past 2 years.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. One thing, I was in the Discord chat closer to lock, and I was talking with Rubio, and I forget how the conversation came up, but I was like, Malik Monk is going to smash. Like, I just knew that this game environment was a great spot for him. One, if you're predicting playoff type rotations, you remember Malik Monk's rotations were amazing last year, and Malik Monk's rotations are not as good in the regular season because, hey, games blow out, right? And he just loses that fourth quarter run. And Malik Monk was definitely someone that I had 100% of yesterday in Miami. That definitely worked out pretty well for me. And I thought that you'd see the Trey Murphy look a little bit more. I thought Valanciunas could be cut some minutes. Now, I'll admit, Valanciunas is like one of my least favorite players in the league. We have some guys we just don't like. And in general, if someone asks me, hey, do you like Valanciunas? My answer is pretty much always no. But I did feel like Trey Murphy was going to get more run. I didn't see the Alvarado stuff happening as much. JVC, what did you think of like the Alvarado look? Because I thought that was an interesting look that they could use in the playoffs for sure, depending on each series, right? I mean, no one assumed JJ Barea would go out and ball against the Miami Heat back in I think it was 2013. I mean, Jose Alvarado could be a piece they use in the playoffs for different looks.
Well, I think especially yesterday when the other team has a very ball-dominant guard that is their best player, you kind of need him to be in there. And he's been hurt most of the year and hasn't been able to play very much, but he is an elite on-ball defender on point guards. And so that is especially equipped to beat the Kings, have him guard De'Aaron Fox. So I understand fully why they had him out there so much and relied less on Jonas and Zion.
Yeah, no one is going to, no one's going to stop De'Aaron Fox, but you need someone to make it difficult. You need someone to be able to keep up, right? You don't want someone just getting left in the dust. You don't want to see, for instance, last night I was getting worried when I saw Halliburton dribble, gets on Al Horford. And listen, Al Horford does a great enough job to try and defend it. But at the end of the day, Halliburton on Horford, he's going to probably have his way. So, it's one of those things that it's nice to be able to have someone like Alvarado to be able to go over those screens. Bryce, I'll go to you. Obviously, you were at the game last night. You talked a little bit about that, but also talk about this Pelicans and Kings game too. What were your overall thoughts about the playing games last night?
I didn't watch any of the second playing game, so I can't really give a take there. I was pretty tired from the weekend and going to the game, but I mean, it's also kind of harder for me to analyze a game when you're there, just because you're having fun, you're talking, as opposed to watching it on TV. Peyton Pritchard looked awful. I think that the issue for the Celtics, the issue for the Celtics obviously is their depth. When they get into the second unit, I don't even know what the plus minus was, but I guarantee that second unit got absolutely killed. They were fine when they had their studs in the game, obviously. Giroux getting into foul trouble obviously hurt them, made Pritchard have to play a little bit more than he normally would have.
Jalen got in foul trouble too. He had 3 early fouls, and that caused them to sit in the second. And obviously they were in the game at the end. They could have won, but that could have affected things too as well. The foul,
100.
was,
I mean,
was an issue as well.
I mean, dude, they were putting like 3 white dudes out there. Like, it's just not going to work unless one of them is named Luca or Nikolai. It's not going to work.
Never have 3 white dudes on the court ever. Hard and fast rule.
Yeah.
What about
It was a tough look, but the Celtics. The thing I'll just call out, like I think the Celtics will fix that depth when the trade deadline comes. Right, that's something that they definitely need to kind of address. I think they have enough guys, but at the same time, like they could use a body or two to kind of help out. What are you thinking, JBC?
I don't know how they're going to get it. Like, what are they going to trade for it? Like, I don't know what kind of resources they've got, but the type of depth that they need, I mean, it's a 5-man team, 6, I guess. And, with Porzingis out, they're going to run into a lot of trouble in the playoffs, especially if one person gets injured, they're fucked. Totally fucked.
I agree with everything you're saying. I don't think it's easy to make that trade, but when you saw what they flipped Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams for, when I saw what the Lakers did with the trash they had last year, I'm not going to completely. I want to see it first, right? I'll give Brad Stevens a better
back for Brogdon again.
I mean, yeah, wouldn't surprise me if they somehow found a way to figure that out. But Bryce, so you didn't get to watch that game last night, but overall, there were playoff type rotations. Like, and I'll admit, we did good in the props yesterday because when I went through it with Rubio, me and him looked at the props. We were like, these minutes are all wrong, right? Like we knew they were off, and the sports books did not adjust for that. And I noticed today it was definitely a lot tighter for sure when it came to some of the adjustments. So overall, I think we're going to expect a lot tighter rotations, which means we will have lack of value for sure on this slate that we'll, obviously get to and talk about here for DFS. Guys, again, if you could please hit that like, subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. Also, JVC, I'll bring this up. Luke Cornett dominated. How much Luke Cornett did you have last night? Because on 2-game slates, like, man, like there are always these diamonds in the rough that we're not expecting, right? If I told you, hey, Luke Cornett and Jose Alvarado were on the winner yesterday, I don't think you'd be shocked, but you'd also be like, get the fuck out of here. There's no chance, right? So how much of him did you have?
I didn't have Cornett on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, where the stocks can kind of accumulate, I think I was mid-single digits. Like I had enough where I had some outs, but yeah, I did not foresee Luke Cornett getting that kind of run or doing that kind of work. But everybody does work against Indiana except for Peyton Pritchard, who sucks. So it wasn't like a crazy thing to happen. Like he was over 1% owned, and Alvarado, I think, based on how much they played him in the playoffs last year in Fox, like in retrospect, we probably could have predicted that a little more, but we haven't seen him a lot this year because he's been hurt.
Yeah, and that's also like the Cornett stuff. That's what happens when they bring in Miles Turner as early as they did. They brought him in a little bit earlier than normal, and then we thought there was a chance it could go small, right? We know how the Pacers can be. They can just go super small. And I thought the Celtics could have definitely agreed to the small ball look just to give Horford a little bit more of a break. So you never know. But that's something when we go through these games, we'll obviously dive in and look at, right? We'll think about, hey, who are some of like these like off the board plays that we can maybe find that might be off in minutes? Because listen, if the projections you're looking at have someone projected for 3 minutes, but then he randomly is getting up to 15. Well, that's going to change how you project stuff out, right? So that's something to think about with some of these off the board options that maybe we can dive a little deeper into. Bryce, did you see the Luke Cornett thing happening at the Pacers game? And like, do you think there's like any interesting gems that we're going to like be able to find on this slate today? You're on mute, dumbass.
Blame Mateo. He's been barking his ass off after I ate my Chipotle. He wanted some. He doesn't get to eat that with his stomach. It's a little too spicy, the burrito.
I don't know any dogs that have had Chipotle. I don't think that would
like. I mean, I'd like feed him a piece of chicken or something out of it, but like it has like hot sauce and shit on it. So that's not good for him. I did see the Luke Cornett game happening. I knew he was going to be nutted on FanDuel. Like I wasn't really paying attention. Like I just had notifications on in case someone like weird was going to be out in the late games, and there wasn't. But yeah, I was like, well, you're going to need Luke Cornett, and I think I was like 5% Cornett on FanDuel. So I was just hoping I had him in the right combo, and I didn't, because you needed that game, or you needed him. Obviously, he scored 30 at 1%.
Yeah. Also, the home court. Did you feel like the home court helped them last night, Bryce? Like, I mean, it was pretty wild.
Yeah. That was the craziest I've ever seen a Pacers crowd. Granted, I've never been to a Pacers game in like the playoffs. I don't go to tons of Pacers games. I've only lived here for a couple of years. That was by far the most electric, like, Pacers atmosphere I've seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely looked awesome. Looked like it was a fun time to be there. Yeah, we could dive into these games and start breaking it down a little bit. And again, if you guys could please hit that like, we would appreciate it. Big prize pools up top tonight. Not a lot going on besides NBA. So there's a lot of money to be won, even though it's only 2 games. First game up is the Knicks and the Bucks. And man, I wish this game was in New York, because New York would be absolutely lit. Yeah. It would be awesome. But hey, it is what it is. We're in Milwaukee for this game. And listen, the Bucks, they're kind of, they got some similarities to the Celtics, JBC, where they're a bit thin, right? Like, there's not a lot of guys down that bench that you love, where I think you're going to see a tight rotation from them. And Tom Thibodeau, what does he love to do? He loves to play 8-man rotations. I think you are going to see some really good plays in this game. Now, the question is, who are the good plays? For me, number one, I think the best play in this game is Jalen Brunson. I want to attack Damian Lillard's defense. I think Jalen Brunson is absolutely going to destroy. He's going to get a ton of minutes. I think his minutes, you could project him for 42 minutes, and that wouldn't surprise me. I think overall, Jalen Brunson is going to absolutely crush. I also want to target some of these values on the Knicks. I think there's some really good value plays. Like, first, Emmanuel Quickly, he could easily get in there. He could lose some minutes, but I think the upside and ceiling is worth taking a chance on at 5.2. The guys I like a little bit more, I think for the discount, Dante DiVincenzo at 4.4, I think is a really interesting tournament option that could get some run. And then the guy I really like is Josh Hart at 5.3. Shooting, he's small forward eligible, and I just think he fits this series really well. Like, if they were going to play a playoff 7-game series, and this was game 1, I think by game 5 and 6, this guy's price would be just adjusted really high. I think he'd be someone that's playing a ton of minutes, and that's because they're going to want his rebounding, right? They're going to want the way he crashes against guys like Giannis, and with Lopez, the way he boxes out. Like, I just think this fits really well for him. And at that 5.3 price, if this was a playoff series, I think Josh Hart would cost like 6.5K maybe by the end of the series. So that's another guy I really like. Someone I think I'm selling my stock on, and I'm curious to get your guys' take on him, is Julius Randle. He's 8.7K. A lot of studs alike on this slate. I know he's been good this year, but he always kind of fades in playoff games. I want to get someone else's take on it, though, and talk about it, because I'm not 100% confident, because I'm always pretty low on Julius Randle in playoff atmospheres. And then Mitchell Robinson at 5.5K. I do think they could use his size, but they could easily get in foul trouble. I think that's a factor to kind of discuss, but at 5.5, I think there's enough upside to consider it. Brook Lopez, he's 6'4". I think he is an interesting center option, because he has the ability to get you 40 to 50 DK points, especially if they leave him open, which he's been left open before against Mitchell Robinson in the past. So the ceiling is there. The floor is there too, but I think the ceiling is too good to just, pass on. Chris Middleton, we can talk about him and his minutes at 6K. I think Chris Middleton is someone that's a really interesting talking point on this slate, because I think he'll be chalky. But at the same time, listen, if you project him for 35 minutes like if it was a playoff game, you'd want to play him. But I could see the minutes being lower and him just being a little more fragile. And at his ownership, I think it's worth talking about. Malik Beasley seems overpriced. And then there's Damian Lillard at 9.3 and Cam Payne as a value, who we should discuss, because Cam Payne's minutes, if he got like 25 minutes, I think you'd want him. If he got 15, I don't think you'd want him. So it depends where you project him at. So JBC, I rattled through a ton of stuff there. What are you looking at on this slate? Because I think this game has a lot of interesting talking points.
I think a big thing that you need to focus on when teams are tightening up their rotations are starters that typically don't play a ton of minutes and have a lot of upward mobility as far as how much they might play. You mentioned it with Josh Hart is kind of a nebulous, in that situation. But the guy that really pops for me is Mitchell Robinson. He usually doesn't play very many minutes. And this game, there is a lot of potential for him to significantly increase his minutes, go up to, even in the 30s. So he's my highest owned player on DraftKings right now. Mitchell Robinson is. And I think he's a great play on the slate. Another one, you spoke about Randall. The thing about Randall on DK is he scores so well on DK. And if he's playing 40 minutes, I love the play, just as much as Brunson. Him and Brunson both great plays. Hart's a good play. Quickly is a great play. The Knicks all are priced down a little bit compared to everybody else. As we spoke about, with the tight rotations, you kind of have to dig a little bit in terms of the value. And Quentin Grimes, let me check exactly how much he costs here. Quentin Grimes at 3,800. You only have him projected for 11 or 12 points, but you can afford to punt on this type of slate. Like in the playoffs, sometimes you'll get a winning lineup that has a guy that only has 7 or 8 points. That's a situation you're in tonight. Like running my shit blind, I'm getting basically no Giannis. It's basically impossible to play him because everybody at the bottom just sucks. So if you want to play a Giannis or multiple studs, you have to dig down there. And Quentin Grimes isn't that bad of an option, along with Beauchamp for the Bucks.
Yeah, Beauchamp is someone I saw popping, and I was like, dude, Beauchamp is popping, and I'm still not getting a lot of Giannis. That is interesting. So thought that was a good point you brought up there. The Quentin Grimes stuff, so let's talk about this. I did the podcast last night with Bobby and Winky. We talked about this game a bit. Do you think Quentin Grimes gets real run tonight? Because he did in the past, right? In past playoff games, he got legitimate run. But I think this is a different kind of game because after talking it through, I think Dante DiVincenzo kind of steals his role. Now, if Quentin Grimes is hot from 3 and playing well, I think, yes, he could steal more run, and not that you shouldn't take a chance on tournaments, but I don't think his role is as secure as past playoff series. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I'm not like completely sold on him. You just kind of have to, you have to take some chances somewhere at the bottom, or else you're just all going to be playing all the same types of mid builds and playing no Giannis and playing no Lillard and playing no Devin Booker and AD. And it's like you want some of those guys, so you're going to have to dig somewhere. And I saw somebody wanted us to talk about FanDuel a little bit. FanDuel, Jalen Brunson is nearly like you basically want to lock Jalen Brunson. He's a great value over there, and there aren't as many options. Him and Lillard, I think, are elite plays at point guard on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Jalen Brunson today, so I'm playing mainly FanDuel today because they got that big $5 instead of the higher ones, which I like when they do the little $5 one. I think a lot of people enjoy that too. I can get some fish money in there too for sure. So I'm excited to kind of get after that one tonight. So I'll be MMAing that one a bit. They have a $15 qualifier as well on FanDuel tonight, which they don't always run those. So if you want to get on over and play that, feel free. When I ran my FanDuel stuff, you are right, JVC. My highest owned guy was Jalen.
Fuck me.
So the price is just too good to pass up on. But
you all right, Bryce?
I forgot to reg the qualifier, and it's filled because they made all their shit. Because they made all their shit too small.
Oh, they made it too small. Well, it was $15, so obviously people get in that. So yeah.
It normally. They got a $5 overrun at least. Get in that.
They have that the $5
No,
is
the $15 queues have been overlaying almost every day. Like FanDuel could have easily had $100K up top with this $5.
They could have, but they they underprice things all the time. So
always.
But Bryce, talk about this game. Obviously, a lot to talk about when it comes to the Knicks and the Bucks, and there's going to be tight rotations here. Who are some of the guys that are sticking out to you that you're high on, and who are some that you're maybe going to be lower
on? I think the guy I don't really love here that the market seems to really like is Beauchamp. Like he projects to be like the chalky value play of the day. I think at least. So I'm fine taking an underweight stance on him in tournaments. Middleton's projecting kind of chalky. If you're talking about guys that might get extended run, like I'm not sure. Like, do you guys have a take on if like his minutes are hard capped or if they let him go a little bit more here because it's like a playoff atmosphere? because if you don't think they let him go, then he's going to be way overowned. He's projecting to be like 50%. I'm seeing, and if he plays, if he plays 25 minutes, like at 50%, I'm way under that. But like if you're projecting him for like an above 30-minute role, then he's obviously underpriced.
It's very difficult to guess at what they're going to do because they haven't let him do it the whole season. And honestly, if I was a team like Milwaukee, where I already have a championship, I could give a fuck about the in-season tournament. So I'm not sure that they're going to let him go the way that they normally would. Brook Lopez, same thing. Like I think the Knicks care about this game a lot more than the Bucks do.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that take at all. I'll run through FanDuel and for this game real quick. I agree with Mark. Brunson and Lillard are absolutely elite plays. Quickly's pretty cheap at 5.5K. I think he's a really strong play on both sides, actually. Who else do I like? I like Mitchell Robinson. I agree with that take. Julius Randle, he doesn't score as well on FanDuel, but it's also way easier to fit in the secondary studs and like not full punt any of these absolute dust balls on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. So I think you see these secondary type of players go like way under-owned compared to like Giannis and Brow are so expensive on FanDuel to where like it's really hard to play them. And I definitely think you want them in your lineups just because they're going to be under-owned because it's really hard to fit them. So to do that, we have to find the cheap plays. On FanDuel, I love Josh Hart. I think it's a great spot for him. I think he scores really well on a site like FanDuel. I think Grayson Allen is one of the best values, but we'll get on FanDuel, but we'll get to that game. Sorry, who else did I listed down here? My notes are all fucked up. Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, I don't mind taking an underweight stance on Brook Lopez here if we don't think he gets the extended run. He does project out kind of well, but I'll probably end up with I don't know. Center's kind of weak on FanDuel today. So I'm ending up with like a ton of like Mitchell Robinson. Like I would prefer Mitchell Robinson to Lopez in this game, which I think is a little bit of a contrarian take here.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. So that's kind of my stance on the game. Don't really have anything else. I think the Knicks run a much more condensed rotation. And Mark brought up a good point about like the Bucks having a championship. So like the in-season tournament might not matter as much. They do have a pretty easy path. Like they should be able to beat the Pacers at home. So, I think the Bucks are, if they can get past the Knicks, because Tibbs definitely cares about this shit. If there's one coach in the NBA that wants to win this type of stuff, it's definitely Tibbs.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Tibbs definitely is going to be grinding it out for that one. So I ran my FanDuel stuff. I got 150 teams here. All the 5,000 sims too as well. Guess who my lowest owned guy would be? If you had to pick the lowest owned guy in the 150, who do you think that option would be, JVC?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like I have some people hardly at all, but
no, I mean like the lowest exposure. Who's your lowest exposure? I'll tell you who mine is. I'm curious.
Jared Vanderbilt.
All right, so I don't even have Vanderbilt in my 150 run. Mine is my NFL from yesterday. Mine is Bobby Portis. I got 1.3% of him, and then Davis at 3.3. It's basically very heavy Mitchell Robinson and Brook Lopez without me changing anything.
I've got Bobby as my second highest center behind me.
I haven't tweaked anything or like messed with it, so it's just like a raw run and looking and seeing what it's doing. So,
but to touch on FanDuel real quick, the guy that I think is very underpriced and that you're looking for as far as a drag that you can play is Drew Eubanks. I know we're going to talk about that game in a minute, but Drew Eubanks, 3,900 or 3,800, whatever the fuck it is. I think that he is very, very playable and could easily get 20 to 25, which would be nutted at his price point on this slate.
Yeah. No, I agree on the Eubanks thing. That was another question I was going to ask you. Is like who's the dumpster dive guy I could go for at center? And my guess was going to be Drew Eubanks. We can shift on over to this next game. We'll do that shortly. I do want to mention, our guy Big T just sent a tweet out, and we have like about 479 people watching. And he said, we're looking for someone to help with Discord. So if you're someone that knows Discord really well, you know a lot of the ins and outs, you're looking for a job, we got an opportunity here for you right now. So check out Big T's tweet, slide into the DMs. Don't just slide in the DMs and be like, yo, like, I want to do it. Like, at least sell yourself a little bit, right? So help Big T out. You know Big T, JBC. You don't just say, hey, I want a job, right? It's not going to work out well. Big T's going to ghost that message. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
Yeah. Sell him on it a little. So make him intrigued. Yeah. But if you want a Discord job, you know it really well, feel free to slide into the DMs. Again, we would love to have someone here that knows a little bit better than some of us. So, all right, let's go to this next game up. Suns and the Lakers. This game should be a really fun game as well. We got two teams that just have some absolute studs, and then they got some duds around, right? Which will be interesting to talk about how these rotations are going to go. First with the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, he is 10.1K. Kevin Durant, 9.9. And then Nurkic, he's 6.9. Those are like the big three right now on that team with Bradley Beal out. You would really assume that those guys, they're all good plays naturally. It just depends on how they fit your build. Now, trying to decipher between these other options is interesting. Obviously, Eric Gordon, I assume he plays. It sounds like from the coach speak, he's going to be in. He's 5.9K. I think he's going to be one of the ball handlers. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I think between Gordon and Booker, and obviously Durant will handle, Nurkic will do some, not handling, but he'll touch the ball, right? He'll have some usage. From there, I don't think Jordan Goodwin really gets run today. He's typically that backup point guard option. I don't think he gets run and could be cut from the rotation a bit here. And it's going to be more of these other options like the Grayson Allen, who can handle it a little bit, right? Josh Okogie. I think Nasir Little could be one of those 3-and-D guys. I think that's in the mix a little bit. You could make a case for a Bates, Diop, or a Wannabe, but that's probably more of a Showdown thing, which we'll get to. We'll talk about Showdown at the end separately. And then Eubanks and Nurkic, I think, are going to split up those center minutes a bunch. He's 4.2K. Then we shift over to the Lakers. And when it comes to this Lakers team, Anthony Davis, 10K, obviously going to be someone that's interesting on this slate. LeBron James, he's 9.6, which I just think 9.6 is there's like a $600 gap between him and Devin Booker. There's a big gap between him and Giannis. Don't overlook the LeBron James play. I think he's going to be a really good option. And, dude, you talk about the Knicks caring about this and Thibodeau. I think LeBron cares way too much about this. Because,
LeBron will kill somebody to win this.
Yeah, it's the one thing he hasn't won, right, Bryce? He's going to want to put that on the mantle, no?
100%. LeBron, all he cares about is his legacy. He's like the biggest legacy guy of all time. So he definitely wants to win this. LeBron's a great play. I think Anthony Davis is a great play here on both sides. What's it called? They have much friendlier prices, especially Anthony Davis on DraftKings. So, I think you could get LeBron at 9.6, flying under the radar a bit. We talked about, the secondary type of studs. LeBron at under 10K, if he's going to play, 42 minutes or some shit like this. There we go. Mr. Patrick Rice. LeBron is probably playing 40 minutes now. I agree. I think this is a game where you could see, a lot of LeBron minutes. And, to me, that makes, the Lakers' secondary pieces less interesting than the secondary pieces on some of the other teams, which is why I highlighted Grayson Allen. Mark likes Eubanks. I agree with the Eubanks take. Center is kind of ugly, and Eubanks is also, he has power forward eligibility on FanDuel, so that makes things a little bit easier there. I think DraftKings sees center only, so he's a better play on FanDuel just because he's you can play him at multiple positions, and B, he's cheaper. And his game kind of fits FanDuel scoring better just because of the stocks. So, I think Grayson Allen's a really good play here. I think Eric Gordon's a good play here. Cheap wise, I'm probably going to be under the field on D'Angelo Russell. I just like some of these other point guards more. I think that's one of the stands I'm going to take tonight. He just comes in at like a mid-tier tag, and he's kind of an easier guy to fit in, like a Chris Middleton type of guy. But he's projecting to be like one of the highest owned players on the slate, if not the entire. Like on FanDuel, I have him projected to be the highest owned player. Like I'm definitely gonna be under that if it's correct.
Yeah.
One thing I also want to touch on with the Lakers is they are very much a team that like the group of guys is like doing it. They'll just leave him in there. So D'Angelo Russell has heavy downside in his minutes.
Correct.
If they're cooking at the end of the third quarter, he just ain't coming in. And so then you look at guys like Taurean Prince and maybe a Vanderbilt, even though he's coming off an injury. And if they're playing well and the game is close, LeBron's just going to turn to the coach and be like, "You don't take him out." So I agree with people at all.
I agree with Prince. I think Prince is one of the better cheap plays.
Vincent Reeves and those type of guys, they all have the potential for 35 minutes if LeBron's vibing with them.
Yeah. One thing I would ask you guys, and I think this is an interesting debate, is like if I told you there's like one rotation you wish you knew tonight, right? Like I could say, hey, I'll show you the exact minutes of one team's rotation. For me, it's the Lakers. I want to know who on earth is going to be the guy that finish out with LeBron and with AD. I mean, if you obviously those two are playing, okay? Then there's the D'Lo stuff. If you told me D'Lo runs hot, I want to know if he's playing 35 minutes. If he gets ran off the court, that's something I think is really valuable because of his ownership, like we just talked about. So that's a big thing. Then you have Austin Reeves, which Austin Reeves has been coming off the bench. I assume that continues, but he could actually like close out the game. Like I could see at the start of the second half, he ends up starting. I could also see after 3 minutes, they pull D'Lo and he just plays the whole second half. Like there's just a lot of routes for Reeves to gain more minutes than normal, kind of like the Malik Monk thing that I talked about last night with Austin Reeves. Then I want to know what's happening with Jared Vanderbilt, because I think Jared Vanderbilt does fit this matchup well, but it's his second game back off of an injury. So I really want to know what's happening with him. I'd love to know Rui's minutes because you told me Rui played a ton. Well, Rui's going to be a great fantasy producer, right? We know his fantasy point per minute is awesome. And if Rui played 25 to 30 minutes, it's probably because he's in his bag and making all those, mid-range jumper shots or hitting some corner threes. So that's an important thing to know. And of course, I want to know about Cam Reddish and Max Christie because Max Christie has been playing well. I could see Max Christie play 12 minutes tonight, or I could see Max Christie play like 28 minutes and the Cam Reddish stuff. So JVC, why don't you talk about this Lakers rotation in depth? Because I think this could be one of the keys to winning the slate is knowing which cheap Lakers are the guys that get it done.
Again, as I was just saying, it's impossible to kind of guess at it because they are very much more willing to go with the hot hand than most teams are. The only guys you know for sure playing at the end of the game are LeBron and Davis. Everybody else is variable. And you asked the question, which team do I want to know their rotation? It literally, if Chris Middleton's playing 35 minutes, you lock him. So that's the one I want to know. So knowing what Chris Middleton's going to do is more important than pretty much anything else. That's
fair, but I do think the D'Angelo Russell ownership and knowing his minutes would be so valuable.
I'm just going to there's those projections and all that is just assuming he's going to play huge minutes, which if we saw, in the playoffs last year and in a lot of games early this year, he's liable to get benched real quick. I hate that. I like that's a chalk rather because I'm just going to go against it.
If there's two guys I know I'm lowering their projection, I'm lowering Middleton and I'm lowering D'Angelo Russell. Running it, seeing what it does, deciding if I like it, and then listen, I can't dock him down 10 fantasy points, right? Then I'm being egregious. It's you got to tinker with it and see what fits best and what you're thinking.
I don't think you have to take a massive underweight stand, but you can go 30% Russell and be totally fine.
Be under because everybody. The fact that you were just saying he's going to be the highest owned player is insane to me. How is he more owned than Jalen Brunson? That's crazy.
And that's just looking at our ownership projections and aggregated ownership projections from across the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only good to look at our stuff, but look at what other people are doing. I think it's important to know what the competition's doing for sure. So we want to know what they're doing. We can make our adjustments. Also, I think you can go under on those guys, but like, I think one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go under on the guys we talked about. But one thing I'm going to do with the Lakers, I'm not going to set a min on those cheap options, but I think I'm going to make sure I want to make sure I'm not like just loading up like I got like 60% Jared Vanderbilt and then I have 0 Rui, right? Like I kind of want to space that out a bit. I think that's a really important way to go about it. JVC, you're nodding your head yes. Maybe you can give some insight. How do you kind of do that, right? Like I think some people might not know how to make sure that happens. Some people, they put a min or some people up the projection. How are you going to handle when you go through to make sure you get exposure to these Lakers? How are you going to do it?
I mean, you would just manually increase the projection, I think. If you want, less Vanderbilt and more Rui, give Rui some of Vanderbilt's points and you'll get there.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it, Bryce. Would you agree that's kind of how you would handle it?
100%.
Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing for sure here. Bill H says we have no competition, which Bill H, I love to see that. Love to hear that. I will say though, man, we only got like 115 likes I'm seeing. I think I have to refresh my YouTube page. So I refreshed it like 3 minutes ago to see, but we got 500 watching. We need to get that going. The Snyder soldiers are not happy with you guys. So figure it out. Okay. Or I'm going to leave Snyder to stare at you for 14 more minutes. And I'm going to be honest. I don't think.
Please don't, because I don't want to look at it.
Don't do that. I'm tired of looking at Snyder.
Gosh.
All right. How about this? If we get 200 likes, Mark will give away one of his premium plays for free tonight on air.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah, let's get that to 200. We got 15 minutes to get the job done there with that. We still got to talk about the Phoenix side. We really talked about the Lakers a ton. JVC, talk about the Eubanks thing a little bit more. Also, talk about some of these other options on Phoenix. Like, for instance, I haven't looked enough at like what Jordan Goodwin's projection is right now, but I think it's a bad play. I just don't think he's a good option, and maybe he gains some ownership and he could be one of those DNP options for sure. Would not totally surprise me. And then like talk about the wing players, because I know we talked a little bit about Nasir Little on the podcast last night and talking about how maybe he could get a little more run in some 3-and-D looks. Like, who are the fillers between Booker, Nurkic, and Durant? Obviously, Eric Gordon will get some run, but he's not going to play 40 minutes. It's Eric Gordon. Who are the guys that are going to fill out those other spots?
I don't think any of them are playable. Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon are the only ones other than Eubanks.
So of the other options,
they're too priced up. I literally have 0 of all of them.
Okay, if one got the most, if you had to pick one of them as the best play, who would it be? That is an interesting thing you bring up, because one big stand you could make on this slate is not playing any of those guys and let other people eat into the ownership.
They're all such bad plays. It would take a lot for me to even, I guess Okogie, but Jordan Goodwin can't play him. Bates Diop can't play him. Little, it's cheaper on DraftKings. I mean, but no, don't play him. I don't see any pathway to where that is a good idea.
All right, yeah, I don't hate it. And when I looked at my FanDuel run stuff, just again raw stuff, I don't have any of those guys. The only bench guy I get is Drew Eubanks, which we talked about the reasoning for it. And it could just be like, hey, a punt option. If a lot of the centers don't get there, well, like at the end of the day, on FanDuel and DraftKings, you need a center on the winner. Like, you need one. That's why we talked about it yesterday. My favorite was Al Horford, followed by Miles Turner. Now, Al Horford wasn't as good, but I thought that was the game to attack your centers, because I just thought, one, you could play Sabonis at power forward if you wanted at spots, and he was kind of priced up. Valanciunas, not a big Valanciunas guy, and we talked about how it would go smaller at times. So that was kind of the reasoning for that. Bryce, why don't you talk about these Phoenix options? Talk about the cheap guys. Are you in agreement just to not play any of them?
I think if I had to play one, it would be Campaign?
No, Payne's on the Bucks now. He's not on the Suns. So yeah, but
well, I'm a fucking idiot.
The guy was very good.
I always knew that. No, I was just I hate Goodwin. Payne was just looking good in my projections. I had the wrong game.
Yeah, that's because he's on the Bucks and he gets confusing. So I get it. But the campaign, the campaign stuff,
I don't like any of them either. If I had to choose one, of Kobe.
Cool. JVC, why don't you, one other thing to discuss before we get to Showdown, talk about the studs and how we rank them on this slate. Like we have, clearly you have to rank these guys out, right? You can't play every single one. You talk about Giannis being virtually impossible to get. So how about you rank your like top 3 studs and then like the 2 that you'd want to be lower on of the top end options?
I've got them all spread out other than Giannis. Giannis I have very little, so I'm
definitely low on him though. That's important to hear.
I'm going to be shorting Giannis. I think the best plays are the Lakers guys. LeBron and AD are probably the best plays, and then the Knicks guys, Randall and Brunson, in a little bit of a lower tier. I think Booker's a little overpriced on DK. Lillard's a little overpriced on DK. But yeah, the Lakers, I as we said a minute ago, they really want to win this shit. So I think AD and LeBron are going to go.
Yeah, of the guys below 10K, my ranking is probably Brunson 1, LeBron 2. Then it's probably I'd like to get a little contrarian with KD. I don't hate doing that. And then it's probably Randall and then Lillard. Again, I'm definitely lowered on Randall, but I understand your take on it for sure. I don't want to get there. I think there's other options around to get to. And then above 10K, I would probably rank it. It's AD, Booker, and Giannis. I'd probably rank it it'd probably Booker 1, AD 2, and then Giannis 3, just because I thought last night it'd be easier to get in, but it's kind of hard to get in the more that I looked at it. And once I actually ran stuff, it's definitely tougher. Bryce, if you had to rank the studs, how are you kind of ranking these options? Give me like the guys like you're higher on and the guys that you want to be lower.
Guys I'm higher on, I think Anthony Davis is probably my favorite one, and then LeBron, and then I'd give it KD, Booker, Giannis, and that's for like the absolute high price studs. I like the Knicks guys a lot. I agree with you on Brunson and Randall to an extent.
Okay, I agree. We have our very own Snyder in the chat saying it's hurtful on the likes. So Snyder, let them know. Let the people know it's hurtful on the likes. But we got one more question, then we'll dive into Showdown. I think that's worth talking about. But one more question in the chat. Let me fix this because I put Snyder on the screen. Can we rank the values? JBC, how do you rank the values? Because again, there's not a lot of good value plays on this slate. It's definitely brutal down here.
Well, it's like also, what do you consider a value? Like like what's your cutoff?
I consider a value anyone that's good point per dollar. Like you could consider like, for instance, if you thought Chris Middleton was playing 35 minutes, I would call him a value. That's me personally.
They want the dregs. 5,400 and below. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Quickly and Grayson Allen and Josh Hart are all very good plays.
Agree.
From there, it's I like Eubanks, but if you want the cheap shit, Quentin Grimes and Vanderbilt and Beauchamp are like the only 3 guys that are even moderately playable down there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the cheap shitters, those are the guys. What about you, Bryce? How do you rank the 5,400 and below?
I agree with Mark 100% on the Josh Hart stuff, Grayson Allen. Then I think you can toss Eric Gordon there as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the absolute shit, like if you're looking to punt to get Giannis, I don't mind Jared Vanderbilt. He can score well and like say he's playing well, he might get 20 minutes here. Jared Vanderbilt gets 20 minutes. He's very likely to be in the optimal lineup here. I know he's coming off injury, but of the absolute shitters, like give me Vanderbilt at lower ownership than Beauchamp. Beauchamp is playable. I think Grimes will probably be my highest over on the 3 of those. But I mean, it's just hard to rank them because they're so awful. I would just kind of spread them out a bit. Like say you have 20 lineups, play the dregs in some. I wouldn't go super heavy on them on this slate just because and that's what leads Mark to being lower on Giannis. He's just so much harder to get because you get to avoid playing a drag. It's like, also, do you want to play like Grayson? Do you want to play Grayson Allen and like I don't know, like an Anthony Davis, or do you want to play like Beauchamp and Giannis? Give me the first side of that all time.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, even if you're playing the dregs, right? It's just that for me, it would be just to play Davis and LeBron together and shit, rather than playing Giannis and like a Nurkic. Like I just don't. Giannis is definitely by far the worst play on the slate in terms of the top end guys.
Yeah, no, it's hard to get him, right? Here's another guy that was mentioned. We haven't even talked about this guy. What do you guys think of Hartenstein? Is that even in play? Because he's a good fantasy per minute producer, but again, tight rotation, and I don't know, it's tough.
I would personally rather lean into Eubanks. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely play Hartenstein. Like, say Mitch Rob gets into foul trouble. Like Tibbs always plays the traditional center. Like, I don't think they're going to close. I don't think they're going to close with Randall at center.
Hartenstein, I think, if Robinson gets in foul trouble, Hartenstein is like auto nut because he's such a high point per minute guy. So no, I don't mind it at all. I have him quite a bit, but obviously there's heavy downside there. He could not play a ton. That he's definitely like a 10-minute risk, but also there's 30-minute upside if Robinson decides he's going to foul the shit out of everybody at the beginning of the game.
Yep, for sure. Why don't we talk about Showdown? Because we're going to talk about the last game for Showdown, and JBC has had a lot of success in the Showdown streets for sure. It's been a good Showdown season for me, so I've been enjoying doing the Showdown slates. What about tonight, JBC? Because last night, listen, I did not have Jose Alvarado. Is there a Jose Alvarado on this slate? I think it's really those Lakers, right? I'm not going to mess around as much with those Suns. I think on the Showdown slate, we really want to dive into how do we handle these Lakers cheapies. So how are you mixing and matching your plays in Showdown?
Well, Vanderbilt is significantly cheaper than everybody else, so that lets you fit in the more expensive captains. So I think that he's probably like close to a lock button. I think my first run I had him like 80%. It's just hard to avoid at that price, especially because I hate most of the Suns guys. Other than that, at the base, I mean, I think I have, your base Diops, your Wood, Little, Watanabe. I've got them all like 2-3%, basically just to get diversified off of Vanderbilt. But none of the $1,000 guys are playable. And when you're wanting to play those expensive captains because playing the mid captains is fucking stupid, you kind of have to play Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's just salary is going to help make it work. And if you need all those studs, it's like, okay, well, you need to have some cheap option that gets it in there.
You also need the studs at captain. I would only run 4 captains on this slate: Booker, KD, LeBron, AD.
Yeah, yep. That seems right. And then I don't know how much I'd mess with the cheap options. I know, obviously, like because of the way the slate was last night, like, for instance, one of my best teams had Cody Zeller on it. Now, not that Cody Zeller was any good. He was on it, one of my best teams, because I needed all the studs, right? And
I was 50% on Cody Zeller last night.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And honestly, of course, if I knew Jose Alvarado was getting the run he would, yeah, I would have flipped it around. I thought they could have used Cody Zeller's side, especially a guy who played in the playoffs, but I should have thought more on it, but nothing you can do. And then Angela says, saying Greek is the worst play on the slate is a horrific statement and highly asinine. We're not saying he's the worst play on the entire slate. We're saying he's one of the worst studs to spend on because of what it does for your full lineup. I don't think
he basically has to get 75 to be optimal on DraftKings.
Yes, and like one thing I thought that was fascinating last night on FanDuel that I noticed, like Tyrese Halliburton was 11-4, but he put up 60 FanDuel points, and I was like, okay, I think he's going to be on the winning lineup. He wasn't on the winning lineup, right? Like sometimes you just can't get them in there, right? So yeah, it's kind of tough for sure. And I think we have a newcomer in the chat. He said, which one is Big T? Listen, if you don't know which one's Big T, then we got a newcomer in the chat for sure. I'll tell you that right now. So
look for the one with the fresh lineup, and that's Big T.
Yep, the fresh line, sounds like a hillbilly, has a computer science degree, that guy. So, but hey, if you're looking for Big T, he's typically on premium shows. You'll see him on some of the free shows as well, talking about some football stuff. for sure. But so yeah, let's see. Let's look at the likes, right? Because we said we're gonna give out a premium play. Let's see how we're doing on the likes. I gotta hit refresh because my YouTube algorithm is broken. We got 186 likes. We need 14 more to give out a premium bet. So be sure to do that. But we'll give out plays of the day now. We'll give out the old Snyder Soldier play of the day, as we like to do and throw on the screen. So JVC, who do you got? Who is your Snyder Soldier?
Mitchell Robinson.
All right, Mitchell Robinson it is. I'm going to go next because I don't want Bryce to steal my play. It's Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's my guy. He's the one.
I knew that was coming. I already have mine prepared.
There we go. And, what do you know? Look who it is. Big T on the show. If you're looking for Big
Himself.
T, newcomer.
Is that a Jaguars hoodie?
It's not. It is a Jaguars hoodie, but not.
Oh, you wore that?
That was my high school. Not the Jaguars after last night.
Yeah.
I had to come on, though. They asked for Big T. I mean, I don't pick as many winners as the guys on this panel. I mean, JVC 11-0 on Sunday?
Yeah. 11-0 is, that's the
no way you've ever done that before. 11-0 in a day.
It's either the first or the second time. It's
NFL. I'm sure you've gone 11-0 in other sports.
It's about one in a. Assuming each bet is 50% or like 50, just
even if you give them like 60%, it's insane.
11 is like, yeah. I mean, it's like 1 in 1,000. So,
Big T, we have some requests in the chat.
Rip some packs. That was a one-time. That was a one-time thing on Thanksgiving. Maybe for Christmas we'll rip them again.
What are you ripping? Rainmakers?
On the one with Wiley, we were for Thanksgiving.
How many packs did you rip? How many packs did you rip on air? It was like 10, right?
At least. I was tilted. I kept getting like freaking Bryce Morrow as my quarterback and stuff. I needed to freaking get somebody decent. I ripped like 40 packs before I got a Dak.
I want to look. Listen, I haven't been on Rainmakers in like a minute. I want to look and see if I happen to have like a free one just sitting there we could rip. Like, you never know. They give you a free one sometimes.
It's insane. It's crazy, man. I went in there because I had like over 500 cards from last year. There's like some of them that were worth like $500 still and stuff. Like, how in the world do people buy that for $500? It's crazy.
Yeah, I got a golf.
I like the UFC ones. The UFC Rainmakers are cool. But
those ones are fun too because you get more. It feels like you get more value in those ones,
right?
Oh no!
Well, because and it's like even if you get a shitty fighter, if he's going to fight X amount of times per year, like say the guy's going to fight 3 or 4 times that year, those are the guys you want, so you can like use them on
right.
tons of cards.
He could be a -400 the next fight if he finds somebody shitty.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do my play. I'll do my play of the day real quick. Damian Lillard. Yeah, I like Dame.
That's your pick of the day, Dame. I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be under on Giannis for sure. It kind of makes sense to lean into Lillard.
Unless Middleton's going to play 40 minutes.
Fuck Middleton.
Middleton's legs might fall off if he goes for 40
Travis
minutes.
has played Marjon Beauchamp.
I'll be honest, like to the show, like I've learned a lot from JBC from NBA stuff where I always used to try to play Giannis, I'll be honest, but just doing the math and running more of the Sims with Saber Sim, even if you project him for like last night, Mangone just brought it up I loved Halliburton last night. I bet the Pacers to win outright. I loved them. I projected him for like 65, something crazy. I still only got like 30% of them. And like you guys said, he still barely even was in contention, even with a monster game.
Yeah, it's just hard. No value. There's no value.
Yeah.
If you had Cornette and Alvarado, you could make it work. Otherwise.
And you could argue, like, Alvarado's not even like a normal scrub. Like, he's not like Beauchamp. He just hasn't played because he was injured for a while and different things. But, like, Beauchamp's a scrub. Like, if you're not getting no 30 from Beauchamp.
Right. Beauchamp, you're hoping that Giannis goes nuts and then like a 10 would be optimal on a 2-game slate, which is totally possible. It's just not what I'm.
Yeah, we're not like eliminating Giannis or anything. Like I'll probably have I don't know.
I'll have more on FanDuel.
Yeah, well, because he's always a better play on FanDuel. Like, he can run his way into like a 5-stock game and get you like 8.
I don't even understand why. Why is he that much more expensive than the other?
That's what we were saying. Like, we think the Lakers care a lot more about this game. Like, your boy LeBron's going to play over 40 minutes here.
I actually think both of
he
those
wants to
teams
win it.
want to win the tournament more than any other team, Phoenix and the Lakers.
Yeah.
I think they both want it bad.
Yeah.
Our take was that the
their
Bucks
plan
didn't
first.
care as much as other
I
teams
agree.
just because they won the title. Like, they already have one.
The Bucks are
LeBron
just trying
cares
to
too much
work out
about
the
his
kinks.
legacy.
I get
The Bucks and the Celtics. Like, that's why one of the reasons I liked the Pacers last night. They were at home and they just cared more. Like, they want to win this thing.
also, like, some of their rotation guys are probably like kind of broke, and they get money.
Oh, the rotation
No
guys!
doubt.
I was there. The rotation guys. I don't know if you saw it on TV. Were going fucking nuts.
Yeah, they were.
They get 500K.
They're waving the towel a little bit
Right
more
in
for
the
that
back.
game. They're really just getting the towel.
No doubt.
Big T, a couple things. So one, I have a rare PGA Rainmaker. It's one guy. We could rip that.
Rip it in there. The people want it. Get in there and rip it.
It's from 2023. It's literally
That's fine,
useless.
rip it. See what we get.
We'll rip it. But Tony, while I'm setting it up,
What about the chick tournament this week? You get somebody playing in the girls tournament?
Yeah,
maybe it's possible. But while we're getting that set up to rip one PGA Rainmaker, while we're setting that up, Tony, why don't you talk about the Discord stuff, right? Because we're obviously looking for someone to get in here. What's the reasoning? Talk about that a little bit while I set up so we can rip at least one PGA rare Rainmaker.
So, I mean, since Run Pure, I take pride in our Discord more than anything. I think it's the best Discord. We could argue who's got the best people, all that. We already argue about that. But the Discord, I know our Discord's the best in the industry. So we have an issue, though, with when people, for some reason, the bot we use just kicks people randomly. People that have been a member for 3 years just wake up and they don't have access to the freaking Discord. And we don't, just to be honest, we don't really know how to fix it. So we need someone that knows what they're doing with the Discord. And I know there's people out there can do it easy. It's got to be an easy thing. It's just
nerds. We're calling all you nerds.
Yep.
We need you.
What do you got here?
Rip that shit.
Yeah, rip it.
I have a 2023 rare prize pack. So let's see what shitty golfer we get.
Don't be bringing bad mojo to it.
It's better be Tiger, dude. Tiger.
Is Tiger in the mix?
Tiger.
Let's see what we can rip here and see what we got. So these are free ones that
Tiger Woods.
All right, let's go. Let's see.
Oh, you only got one.
Yeah, it's only Hayden Buckley.
Hayden Suckley.
What's that worth? 69 cents.
This is why they get me, though. When I see that, I just want to rip another one right now. I think
it's like the kids playing Fortnite, just spending the money.
I got shit I can rip, I think. I don't even know what this is.
Look at all your packs. Those are all yours.
How do you have all this shit?
Yeah, how do you know? I don't know why I have it. Never opened.
Rip another one.
Well, let's
rip 100 packs in there that you haven't opened.
It.
Let's rip the Georgia starter pack. It's a Georgia edition, so it's only Georgia.
Until we get Tiger Woods, we're ripping.
Let's rip. Let's see what happens. Come on. See what we got.
I think that's
the build up.
Man, you gotta hit the
quick. Okay, here we go.
It's quick reveal.
All right.
Quick reveal.
Not one by one?
No, we'll be here all day if you go one by one.
Hold on.
JT?
He sucks.
Right. Gary Woodland.
We got Olympic bronze medalist Chang Sung Pan.
There we go.
Kisner, who was good 7 years ago.
Aaron Badley. I'm sure that won't be useful at all. Or Ryan.
You got JT. JT might be worth something.
I mean, the only thing is it's for 2023.
Rip some of those. Get in there.
Rip it.
Let's see.
How do you seriously? How do you have that many packs that you haven't opened?
I didn't know I got them. I don't know what I got them for.
Well, you probably play the fucking contest where they give them to you as free prizes.
It's got to be.
Probably. It's probably exactly what happened.
Quick reveal.
All right,
Gerald Hatton. There you go. He's good.
Who's
Who the hell is Waffle?
Is Jared Jared Wolf related to? Is he related to Matthew Wolf?
I don't know what sport that is.
It's golf. Live Tour.
He's got
Yeah.
the weird swing.
I
Oh,
know.
Matt Wolf with 2 Fs. With 2 Fs.
He's got the weird swing, the bomber.
Yes.
Just start ripping them. Stop scrolling. Rip them.
We're gonna rip a core prize.
We got to get at least one good one.
Oh.
Cage is definitely not it. Let's rip another one.
How do you have this many golf packs? I'm seriously like, I don't understand.
I have no idea.
Fuck somebody's dick for this.
Zach Blair.
Oh,
It's your second Zach Blair.
You're going to rip them all, and we're not going to get one good one.
We're getting one good one. Troy Merritt. No.
Oh, God.
Gosh, that's costing nothing. Hold on. Let's rip this.
Is Mangone buying packs right now?
No.
Just accidentally clicking it.
Gosh, give me someone good. Charlie. Who
No,
is
is he
Charlie
like
Wee.
years old? He's like 60 years old.
How does he even have a card?
See,
Oh, he's
Woo.
pretty good.
I see
Wait,
we're
no,
getting
rip the Georgia one. Rip the Georgia one.
Yeah, look at that.
We already did the Georgia one. We just did
Oh, it's,
You did? Why is it still in there then?
I don't know. What does this offer? I can
Don't
what is
offer, dude. What are you doing?
that?
I'm
Now
looking at my
screen-
Rainmaker shit. I don't know how this shit works.
Now my
Fuck
screen
this.
is frozen.
Wins? Yeah, right here we go.
My
There we
screen
go.
is
Win
frozen.
Charlie Woods.
Yeah, Charlie Woods would be a good one.
Well,
What
my
are you
shit's
doing on
frozen,
the screen?
My screen's frozen. It won't.
Oh,
my God.
no. It's time to stop ripping packs then.
Yeah, it's time to stop ripping. We're done ripping.
You guys hear this storm outside of my house in December? The house is about to come down while I'm on air.
Oh.
No.
Can't be as annoying as Bryce's squeaky toy.
Oh, yeah. I can't compete
Did
with the dog
you hear
toy.
that during the show?
Oh, yeah, all the time, the whole time.
Yeah.
He said all the whole time.
The whole fucking
fuck,
time.
Mateo?
People in the comments were talking about it the whole time.
God damn, say something.
No, I'd rather just see you suffer.
The chat was having a good time with it. So.
He got me dying. He said the whole time.
Look at him now. Oh no, he just woke up.
Oh, the squeaky toy.
All right, Big T, you got any plays of the day or thoughts
Oh,
for the
you
people?
got
And then
me
we'll hop
dying.
out of here.
All right, well, I got to give away a premium. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, you got to give away a premium. We got 209 likes. That's true.
Tony can give.
Give away the
One.
one that starts at 6:30.
Okay, the premium that starts at 6. Oh, the line. Let me give it for the current line. Let me make sure that it's still right there.
You know how the people will jump all over you, especially after anyone could go 11-0 if you move the lines. That's one.
Oh, dude, that's why I picked all them bitches right before the game started. No bitching. All right. So the one, actually, you know what? It's better. Who fucking cares? Delaware and Xavier under 150. There you go.
All right, there it is. So get that bet in there. Big T. First of all, too, I didn't mention this. You didn't comment about my hat. You said
In all seriousness, before I hopped on, it does look way better than that old one you had.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Did Amber send it to you or what?
Yeah, Amber sent it to me. So
Looks good.
All right, Travis, I'm buying you something for your wall if I ship NHL. I'm actually.
Fallick said he was buying one too. Did Fallick send it yet? After Fallick won $100K off friggin' JBC's bets, he needs to get you a background.
Yeah, I'm gonna complain about that. I will say,
buying me a new car. Fuck.
Big T, I got all the stuff laid out, ready to set up, and I
got it?
Well, I got all these packages from Wiley, and I go through it, and I go, "Where's the microphone?" Right? Like, and if I hit up Ryan, and he goes, and he's like, "Oh, we didn't do the microphone yet." So I got the mic yet.
You got all the stuff except the microphone?
Everything but the microphone.
Microphone's the one thing that matters
You don't
the
need
most.
to hear Mangone any clearer, like at all. It could be muffled. That'd be a lot better.
That's a fair point. But Tony, give your final thoughts on the slate for the people, and then
I mean, honestly, I haven't even ran any teams yet, so I
Marjon Beauchamp.
it's not going to be him, I can assure you. I was trying to find like a low-owned guy. Like, I kind of like Eric Gordon a little bit, but
I think
I don't know. I really do. You like him?
Yeah,
he'll be higher owned.
He's
one of the better values.
But I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Our big talking point in the slate was Middleton and D-Russ are going to have way too much ownership, and we're going to be lower on them for sure.
Oh, D-Russ is supposed to be the highest of the slate?
On
I think
FanDuel.
on FanDuel he's going to be
On
high.
DK, I am on FanDuel. I'm an idiot. I had FanDuel up when I was saying this. Yeah, okay, I got you. 60.
All right, well,
he's 6,800 on FanDuel too. That's not like crazy cheap.
He's going to get benched in the fourth quarter for Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
Very well could.
FanDuel.
All right. Well, we talked through the slate. We talked about the playing games. We gave away a free bet. I mean, we ripped some packs. We did it all on this show. So, yeah.
You guys need to join the bet side if you want to win some fucking money. Goddamn.
There you go. So,
11-0 on NFL sides ain't going to happen for everybody.
Yep, 11-0 from JBC. Was a great day for the Rum Pure.
You know how many people, Mangone? Like, I probably have, let me give an accurate number, probably 15 to 20 people text me daily now, like, who's JBC got? Who's JBC got? I'm like, you guys have never asked me for any winners. What does that mean? I pick a lot of losers? I got bad friends. Nobody's
we
ever
just asked you for a winner.
Now.
We did just ask you for a winner. That's true. Who's going to win the NBA game? Who's winning the Knicks game?
I hit the 2 last night. I actually like the Knicks. I like the Knicks and the Lakers.
Does they give a shit? Does they give a shit?
Yeah.
Tony, you know what the worst is? You'll know this for a fact too, because yesterday I had a buddy hit me up and he was like, I need a promo code at DraftKings. You know, he's going to sign up or whatever. And so he uses the promo code and signs up. And he says, "You have any bets?" And I said, "Yeah, here's the props I bet or whatever." They went 7-1. I don't think he bet him. He never texted me.
You know how many times that happens to me when I give them and they don't? Or what they'll do is they'll complain about the one loser. This happens to JBC too in there.
Yeah.
Where you go
like,
4-1
today, like, and it goes 4-1, and it's like, oh fuck.
And then they're like, "Well, I didn't bet the other one." Huh? You asked for 5 plays. I gave you 5. Well, you
only parlayed it. You know, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. But I got no text at all from him. Yeah. So he guaranteed there's no way he bet him. If he went 7-1 first time.
Oh, he would have let,
he would have let you know. Yeah. Well, no, I don't respond to your text either. So.
Yeah, it's okay. That is well, Tony does sometimes. You know, you gotta make sure. You gotta make sure you get in there for him. All right. Well, it's a lot of fun, but we gotta get on out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the show. We'll be back for sure with tons of winners throughout the week. Be sure to check out Tony on the Print Factory tomorrow. They'll be breaking down the NFL stuff with ODB and JSU, and then we'll have more NBA shows throughout the week. So be sure to check that out. So for me, Mangone, JBC, Bryce, and Big T, we'll see you guys later.